Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary. It's time for the podcaster who's keeping his phone at, I keep my phone at a distance, and you can too, because you're using your headphones or your phone, or your screen off. That's a great thing about listening to podcasts. I'm helping with the screens, like within the theater of the mind, to give you another screen to look at. A little bit out of focus, a little bit nonsensical, because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast puts you to sleep. Hey, everybody, I just wanted to let you know, if you're a patron, you've been a patron in the past, or you're on the fence, you've been waiting to sign up for, you just keep sleeping and you say, well, I'm going to sign up tomorrow. Now's the time to sign up. We're doing a what is that thing called? Time capsule. I thought it was a time machine. That's what I almost said. We're doing a time capsule with all the names of all the patrons who've supported the show. It is opt-in, so don't worry if you don't want to be a part of it. To celebrate 800 episodes, over 100 million downloads, that your support made possible. The whole idea of value for value is like a community garden. I use that as an analogy because, like while I'm there tending things, the water, the seeds, all the supplies the patrons make possible. And if you support the show by sponsors or spreading the word, you'll get a chance to participate too. So pay attention for those updates. But if you've been thinking about becoming a patron, getting those ad-free episodes, if you want to do it for that, or you just get value out of the show and you rely on it, you listen to it on a regular basis, and you say, hey, I want to give some value back for the work that goes into the show. And I like to know it's there for me and everybody else to listen to it for free. Go ahead and sign up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Starting at $5 a month, you get full ad-free episodes. And then at $20 or more a month, there's a lot of other cool stuff. So check it out, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Sign up today and get in on this time. Not a time machine. I can't promise that. But get your name on this get your name in this time capsule. So somewhere in the future, people will say, wow, all those few, now that Sleep With Me has become, like something that's just, I don't know how it would work in the future, to be honest. The people in the future will know that, but we don't, around here, we don't worry about the future, right? We're making a time capsule in the present for the future because of all the support I've gotten, really. And I'm greatly, greatly appreciative of that. And there's still a chance to sign up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Thanks. It's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. And just in case anybody's wondering, Scoots is back on the Coco Loco this week. That's the native deodorant I'm using this week. But I also wanted to thank BDSA. This is BDSA's second Sleepy Supporter Zone shout-out. BDSA checked out native deodorant. I believe they got the travel sampler box, and they said their favorite smell so far is charcoal. If you go over to nativedeodorant.com and use the promo code SLEEP during checkout, you'll get 20% off your first purchase. It's nativedeodorant.com and use SLEEP at checkout. Be like BDSA. Pick yourself up some Coco Loco while you're at it. So you say, hashtag smell like Scoots. Normally that wouldn't be, in this situation, it's a positive hashtag. Other times you say, what is a sleepy creaky dulcets? But anyway, that's the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Thanks, BDSA. Thanks, everybody who supports our sponsors. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support, dear Scooter, on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. overcome. And we're so proud that we could dance to be part of Nine Vale Presents. So now on with the show.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter at Twitter and Instagram. And, a huge way to help the show is just to spread the word. Let one or two people know about the show, whether it's in your, interpersonal life or your online life. Share with them about the podcast. Show them how to subscribe and search for podcasts on their phone if it's in person or online. Introduce them to a bunch of other great podcasts, too. It would be a huge help for me and for them and for you. Everybody wins with podcasts. Everybody wins. Actually, I don't think there's any winning. Or everybody enjoys it. Something for everyone to enjoy. Podcasts. Thanks everybody for spreading the word and letting people know about the show. Really appreciate it. And what do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing? Trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, changes in time or temperature, whatever it is that's keeping you awake. I've got a nice, safe place set aside here. You could come on in. You could take a breath. You could sink in. You could get comfortable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky dulcet tones. Creaky like a door. A friendly door. When you say, like, when you're aware of doors that are, like, you're waiting. Oh, maybe this is when I'm, like, warging as a dog. But you say, I can't wait for that person to get home. I can't wait to hear their door open. Or you like when you're getting woken up by someone and you're saying, I wonder when they're going to open my door and say, hey, time to get up, or hey, you getting up? I guess those aren't creaky doors, but they're the Dulcet Door collection by Dior. It won't be by Dior, but hey, Dior, do you want to get in on this classic door collection? Maybe did I say a classic door or the creaky door? Oh, the Dulcet Door collection. Oh, silly me. I was just thinking Christian Dior. And then I said, okay. How about the creaky Christian collection? And the Dulcet, we'll have to think of the Dulcet Door. I don't know. I'll get back to you. Let me get to these new listeners. Do you mind if I call you CD? They don't make them like this anymore. I don't know if you knew that or you've heard that one before. Yes, it was, a while back, but oldie but a goodie. Okay. Well, I could say it like that. Man, they don't make them like this anymore. Okay, so anyway, sorry about that. I went off topic there, but where was I? Oh, if you're new, hey, how you doing? Welcome. So this is a podcast to take your mind off of stuff while you go to sleep. Let me give you a little bit of extra information. Show starts off with a few minutes of business. That's really what enables us to keep the show free as opposed to behind a paywall somewhere. Are the sponsors and the people that support the sponsors. So I really appreciate the people that go out of their way to do that. And then there's an intro. Now, sometimes if you're new, you might think that, like, or you skip ahead too far or something. Like, sometimes I get feedback that people think the intro is like a big commercial or something like that. No, there's like about 4 minutes of intro as a business, and then the rest of it is just me kind of rambling nonsensically. And really, like, here's the thing. If you're new, it's a tough proposal, right? Coming to this podcast and checking it out, you've already had to overcome some skepticism. You've had to go into your phone. You've had to get a podcast app and search it. I appreciate that. It is a little bit of, you had to do some searching and stuff. So thank you. And I'd like to help you if I can. Now, the podcast doesn't work for everybody. Oh, but I was trying to say the structure. So the intro is kind of a way to introduce the podcast, to new listeners and for regular listeners, if you become one and the podcast becomes part of your routine, what it can do is the intro is kind of made to be part of people's wind down routine. So instead of like the podcast just starting right away, some people say this show never gets off the ground. I'd say, well, more or less, you're kind of right. Yeah, it's slow to start, slow to finish. And it's like a boat, one of those boats you make out of a piece of paper or whatever. Not really. No, you're right. But what was I going to say? So the intro's like it gives you a chance to wind down and get ready for bed or to get into bed and kind of let the day kind of drift away. And yeah, it just takes me like 12 or 15 minutes to kind of do the normal routine things with the podcast. And then to try to come up with a metaphor, like however I'm going to try to spin this Christian Dior Dulcet Door collection metaphor into billions of dollars. But that'll be in a minute when I say, how am I going to connect those things to how the podcast works? So that's the intro. Then there's some business between the intro and the show. Again, that's what keeps the podcast free for everybody. So thank you for that. And then there's a story. Well, tonight will be like a story. It'll be a recap of an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where you don't even need to watch the show. Or if you watch the show, I mean, some people that watch it a lot, they can pick up on, oh, yeah, I remember that, because there's just some very famous, like a groundbreaking Next Generation episodes. But for most part, it's kind of like my recap of it is inane would be and dull. But also, I just talk about whatever comes up and whatever I'm interested in. I use the lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones to help you fall asleep. So that's the intro and the story. And then there's some thank yous at the end. So this is a structure show. Also, if you're new, you don't need to listen or to make sense of the podcast. You can do that. There are listeners that do that. Just like there's listeners that skip the intro or only listen to the stories. Just like there's listeners, like particularly on Patreon, that listen to 8 or 10 episodes a night. There's not a wrong way to do this. But if you're new, kind of look at me like I've been saying recently, or maybe not, is let me drift in one ear and out the other and kind of float around like you're watching a feather on the wind. And you say, well, I don't really know where that's going, and I don't really mind. It's nice as feathers drifting, and this is not bad to look at. So no need to pay attention. Also, this is a different thing. There's no pressure to fall asleep. In fact, this is one of those sleep things that's not even here really to put you to sleep. I'm just here to keep you company as you fall asleep. I'm just here to take your mind off of stuff and to be your companion. I don't know, there used to be Cliff Notes, right? And Spark Notes. And I'm like, the Cliff Notes and Spark Notes to nothing. You say, well, what Scoots is like the Cliff Notes or the Spark Notes of what? Of maybe an abridged dictionary that was randomized and put in a shredder. He might be the Cliff Notes of that. Or waterlogged set of encyclopedias, but I don't know. It's kind of like, and he's also, sometimes it's longer than the original text. I don't think Cliff Notes or Spark Notes ever did that. So he's kind of I don't know what the word is, notes, right? He's actually working on, believe it or not, he's also working on a fashion collection. He forgot what it was called because he only talked about it 8 minutes ago. I think he was calling it the Dulcet Dress by Dior, Dressing in Dulcets by Dior. He's pitching different ones. Dior's Dulcet Designs, Dulcet Door Collection. He says maybe we could combine all of that. But he's working with Dior, or however it's properly pronounced. The fashion house. Oh, no, not that one. An imaginary fashion house in his mind. Well, yeah, no, they're going to be working on, I guess, what'll be fashionable doors. or I don't know, like, actually, I don't know. It's part of a sleep podcast to put people to sleep, I guess, where he's like, it gets mixed up. He was like trying to explain with the new listener that they don't really have to pay attention, and there's no pressure to fall asleep, that he's going to be there for an hour. So even if they can't sleep, he'll be there to keep them company. No, he's not saying that's fashionable, but being friendly is always fashionable. I know that I know the deal, like, I know that's not fashionable to say it. It's just, no, that's not part of the Dulcet Door collection. Though we could put that somewhere hidden on the door as a reminder. Being kind is always fashionable. Maybe like when you're leaving the house, it's just like up there on what is that thing called? The headstone? The door top? The top of the door? No, but where you could see it. Okay, well, we'll figure that out when we do the, what do you think? How does that fall in your ears? Dulcet Doors by Dior? Dulcet Door design? Well, they're already pre-designed. Okay. Well, I better get back to the sleep podcast. Sorry about that, folks. So here's the thing. I'm here to keep you company. Maybe it'll be in the future in TNG. They'll have the Dulcet Door design because those doors are swishing in and out anyway. And maybe like in, what was that, Airplane 2, where the doors would say something. These doors would say, "This is being kind's always fashionable." I guess that would be a mouthful. Be kind. I don't know. We'll figure, maybe I'm ahead of myself, as usual. So if you're new, I'm glad you're here. I hope the podcast can help you and help keep you company and put you to sleep. I mean, the thing is, it's not for everybody. The reality is it doesn't work for everybody. So I hope it can work for you. Just give it a few tries, see how it goes. But there's no pressure. Like, on my end, the show really only benefits me if it helps you. And if it doesn't help you, I do have a website with other stuff, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you, that you could check out. But really, like, because the reason I want to help, because you might say, well, what in the heck, why do you want to help me? Because you deserve a good night's sleep. I know how it feels. And I know even if it's just on a trip, that it could be frustrating. And if it's a regular thing, it could be more than that. And I think you deserve a place of solace, a place of respite, a place that feels safe and comforting. Or at the very least, it's not like where you say, like where you're saying, I don't mind going to bed now because Scoots is there. He doesn't, like we already said, he was I don't know what he was talking about last night. I think he wrote a new piece of boudoir fiction called Don Juan Dior. It was a door, though. That was like I guess it was an accidental pun. Don Juan Dior was the name of the character. It was a door, though. No D-I-O-R or D-O-I-R. You're telling me it was a door named Don Juan Dior walking around doing what? I don't remember because I was asleep. I'm not even sure that's what he was. It could have been. I don't know. It slept so good, though. Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad he put you to sleep then. So that's actually the best it's the best example of a use case. Pretty accurate breakfast discussions for Sleep With Me listeners. I can feel you chuckling along. So that's it. I'm glad you're here. I work very hard at your next drive because I'd like to help you fall asleep. So thanks again for coming by. And here's a few ways we're able to bring you this podcast for free. Hey, are you a Sleep With Me podcast patron, or have you been one in the past? Because we got a really, really exciting announcement. Or if you're on the fence, you've been thinking about it, but you said, well, what's in it for me? Or, you just kind of say, well, I keep putting it off, Scoots. Well, don't put it off any longer because starting September 15th, you'll start to hear about this. We're going to do, because the patrons, the show reached 800 episodes and over 100 million downloads recently. And we would not have been able to do that as a free podcast without the patrons who support the show. And so we're going to do a time capsule. And if you've ever been a patron from the beginning, whether you signed up and you're no longer a patron or you're just about to become one, you're going to get it to be a part of this time capsule. And if you supported the show by other means, don't worry, you'll hear about other ways to sign up for it. But really, the patrons have carried the show on their backs. I wouldn't have been able to do it, or I would have had to put the podcast as part of some service without the support of the patrons. And the reason people become patrons, they're part of a community that keeps the podcast free for everybody. And I know they feel a lot of pride. You should if you're a patron and you're listening. And so this time capsule is going to be symbolic of all the people that made these 800 episodes possible, that made these hundreds of millions of downloads possible. And if that sounds interesting to you and you want to sign up, just go to sleepandbepodcast.com/patron. You could still be a part of it. Not only that, you get your own RSS feed with ad-free episodes and story-only episodes starting at $5, and then $10 and up patrons. And those are full episodes. The only thing they're missing is the ads. And then $10 up patrons just get a couple all intro episodes every month. So if you like the all intro episodes, they get an all night episode. They get story only episodes. You can find out more at sleepingmepodcast.com/patron, but you just pay attention because none of this wouldn't have been possible. Because none of this would have been possible without your support. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for making this podcast possible. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about The Next Generation, Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 10, the Defector. And I guess this round of TNG episodes we're reaching what was an unintentional theme, but will now become more intentional. Or that some reason I like, so this is like, seems like we'll be covering some Romulan and maybe Klingon-style episodes, this round of episodes, because this is a Romulan in neutral zone-themed episode. Yeah, that'll be cool. Then we can hit up the BO to the R to the G in the next round or something. Also, I love the Q, finish off the Q episodes. But for now, the episode opens with a campfire, and there's two gentlemen sitting around the campfire talking, or are they giving lines? Is this a play? Is that Picard? One of them is Patrick Stewart, holding a pike, and another gentleman, there's a tent behind them. They said, is this a play? Like, I thought it was a play performance, even though I'd seen the episode once before. What does that say? Retention? There's a nice horse bray in the background. And a chicken call. That took me a second. Data's remember, I don't know if, like I said, Sansa looks like the Starks, Sansa in particular, looks good in a hood, like a hoodie or a cape, the hood of a cape. And Data also looks good. He's got a very Stark, like a Game of Thrones, I guess, esque. His is kind of green cloak. With a hood. We got one of the people around the campfires rocking some chainmail. So is Data. Like Sansa chainmail. Warms his hands by the fire. Then we realize there's a double Picard because Captain Jean-Luc Picard is reading along. Maybe as a director. This was my notes. We'll read through a little bit of dialogue, but then Data stands at the dialogue, a little bit annoyed. It's a Shakespearean dialogue. I didn't know at first if it was Shakespeare-esque. And Data stands annoyed, says something back, and then Picard, he likes it. He says, splendid, splendid, and collapse. So, yeah, it's like, we'll talk about, like, the Life of Henry V by Shakespeare. Apparently, this is from Act 4, or 3, yeah, 4. And, it's Williams and Bates, John Bates, and they're talking, and then they say, somebody else shows up who is Data, but really he's the king, I think, undercover. And, they talk about their thoughts about the king. Data's kind of trying to say the king's just like them. Data's getting it, trying to get inside info. So we get a thematic, possibly a thematic, right, for brighter minds than me, this thematic carry through. But then we also get a little bit of a Data story, which is, I always enjoy it. But let's see. Yeah, so they have a long dialogue. Doth, ask, and then it's a break in the scene. And Picard goes, "She said you're getting really good." And then the characters are like, "Who's talking?" Like they're still in action mode. And then Data says, "Yeah, I'm going to study some more performances. Brana, Olivier, Shapiro, Kulinark." And Picard goes, "Well, this is more about you learning the human condition through Shakespeare. And you do that by your own, what comes up for you, not through other people." Then Riker says, "Yo, Captain, get down here. Unidentified class in the neutral zone, heading towards Federation space." And Picard goes, "Okay, Data, we gotta hit the road." But Data, they clear that out. Data says, "Well, why would the king go undercover if he's a leader? Shouldn't he be leading up front?" And Picard goes, "Well, tell it, like, what is it that Shakespeare saying about the king? The king wants to empathize and connect with the soldiers before this big action." And then Data says, "How about we do a performance for the crew?" And Picard says, "Well, let's not rush it, all right?" Also, Data's wig is a bowl cut, like not the same as I would have had as a kid, but it is that style. Okay, what else do we have? Data had to stop Picard from getting PIKED by zone by Picard. In the hall talking, he said, "Is this foreshadowing? Let's not rush it." They're on the bridge. Worf looks annoyed, or his normal Worf face. Romulan scout ship is open hailing things. What does this say? Hailing us. They're hailing us. He says open a channel at first. Or maybe he says open hailing us, open a channel. Whoever's on there is requesting asylum. And they say on screen, then there's action music. We see that Ronald Moore wrote the episode. Booking, brooding time. Oh, this was a question. I didn't get a chance to investigate this. It's really unrelated to anything. Well, it said, okay, so how many holodecks, maybe I'll look this up, but like, for another episode, like how many holodecks are on each ship, right? Because if the human condition's anything like it is now, I know they get food and everything, but the holodeck would have multiple uses, right? Education, adventure, escape, enjoyment, pleasure. So how do only officers get to use the holodeck? Like if I'm like a regular enlisted person or just a visiting contractor, because I mean, the holodeck must be going 24/7 unless it's only the Picard gets to pick who gets holodeck time. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not cut out to live in a world where there's holodecks. It just not quite, ever. I don't think ever. You say, well, he went out, I'd be like Moriarty. They say, just put me in there then. Like make it like a Charlie Booker thing. Like just get me in there and keep me in there. I'll live my life in the holodeck, depending on the program. Okay, then, what is this? Romulan versus Romulan, very green, red alert, 41 seconds, you got Picard. This is after the open. Picard's not happy. Let's see. Oh, yeah, people on ship. Just checking my notes. He says, explain yourself. The dude on their thing says, need some help here. What does it say? 140 by 205, move 5 kilometers, all stop. So that's the orders given out. Extend the shields to the scout ship. Then they're face to face with the Romulan ship. Picard says, lock phasers, open a channel. Picard kind of does a speech, and then the vessel heads out. So let's see. Visual screen. Open the channel. Of course, to intercept, stay out of the neutral zone. Oh, yeah. How long before they get into Federation territory? Formula 41 seconds. Picard says, you've crossed into the neutral zone and you're engaged in action. What's your intent? They don't answer. That's when the dude says, how about some help? Data's like, yeah, that ship's not doing great anyway. Position, oh, that was like 140205. Okay, they extended the shield, so it's not going to last long. And then they say, well, the Warbird's like, I can add us. Regards says, Romulan vessel, you're in Federation territory unless you withdraw. And then it's out. Riker says, what's up with that? That's weird. Back, headed towards the neutral zone, Romulan territory. Then the power goes off in the scout ship offline. Transporter to beam whoever's on their board. Worf and Riker head out to meet whoever it is. Energize. They said, holy shoulder pads. Romulans have serious shoulders, or shoulder pads, shoulder enhancing devices. I must just see your captain, the Romulan says. Cannot wait. Which Worf and Riker share a look at one another. Let's see. Captain's log says, yeah, we got a Romulan defector, low-ranking logistics, but a lot of information, a lot of secrets. Entree base, I don't know what that says. There's some secret base. ENTRE. WTF. I put, we just missed a base. Somebody says that. They say, geez, after the Battle of Charon, Romulans are still mad, and they want to claim the neutral zone. 48 hours, they'll be ready to go. Oh, and then Riker says, WTF, we missed a base? And they said, yeah, it's going to be a great base for them, not for you guys. So you better take it out. Guess Worf says the Federation will not permit that. This is, I guess, Worf, Riker, and Sadel, or whatever. The person's name changes a few times. It would seem so. That's what he says. Yes, they say WAR. Yeah, Worf's like, nope. Goes take out the base, yo. Riker's, I said Picard's so cool. Oh, yeah, this is on the bridge. Also, Riker gets to drop his, light swear words a few times. Because Picard goes, I'm sure you're very tired. Worf, why don't you take him up to a medical and you have him get some rest? The dude goes, no doubt you got more questions for me. Picard goes, no doubt. And the Riker goes, he's got a double hockey stick of a story. And Picard goes, yeah, well, what do you think? And Riker goes, well, I don't think they know we wouldn't want them to build a base. So Data says, well, it's a Romulan ploy. They test the enemy's resolve and make you act. Remember the last episode Scoots did? And Riker goes, yeah, trying to make us look like the aggressors. And then Picard completes the thought, yeah, Romulans will have an excuse to respond then. And Data says, that would not be an atypical Romulan ploy, sir. Always a chess game, Picard says. And then Geordi's rubbing his hands. At least we get to check out their ship and really go over it. And I liked this one. Let's see. So cool. Well, I can see you're tired. That was definitely one of my favorite parts. Is Picard is really boundary establishing in his leadership. Heck of a story. Geordi, Data, something. Oh, so they say, okay, Troy and Riker, you talk to this dude. And Data goes, can I go along? Picard goes, nope, I need you on the bridge with me. So much to do. We got to establish peace here, bro. We got 48 hours. Then the scout ship goes bye-bye. Then we go to Medbay. And Riker's like, dude, what's up with that? He goes, why wouldn't I put the ship on auto bye-bye? And Riker goes, excuse me for being a little bit confused, but I thought you were defecting. And he goes, yeah, but he goes, oh, all you want to do is exploit me and take advantage of me. Meanwhile, Crusher's working on him. So she's like, dude, sit still. And he goes, how come you're so good with the Romulans? She goes, there's some episode Scooter didn't see, Galadoron. And Worf goes, you certainly know a lot for logistics clerk. And Sato goes, well, I know, it's just common knowledge, dude. I got my rating code. Worf goes, did you know in Star Wars, they, these aren't the droids you're looking for? He goes, it's pretty easy to pull off. And then he says, I don't make calls Worf a Patak or something. And Worf goes, you're lucky you're not on a Klingon ship. And he says, remove this Tosa from my sight. And Riker goes, your knowledge of Klingon curse is impressible. But, as a Romulan might say, only a rule, like a double F-O-O-L, would use such language in public, maybe. Worf, you have him go to bed. Or no, he goes, Worf, go get his room ready. And then Worf goes, sure. And then the dude's laughing. Riker goes, what are you laughing about, man? And he goes, I like him. I understand him. He's like into it to the BATTL. He plays whatever. Not the Mario Party, the other one. Riker schools him and swearing. Dude nods and laughs. Yeah, then there's a commercial break. Then Riker looks around. Fool, start water ecometrics. Okay, let me see. Riker takes him to his room is what happens. Shows him, he goes, you can call me through the comm panel. We'll be back to talk to you. He leaves. And Sato goes, hey, water? And the thing goes, what temperature? He goes, 12 onkians or something. And the computer goes, I speak to metric system. And he says, cold, on the cold side of whatever your system is. And he has a sip. He looks around the room. And he said, even Romulans need water. Can't Picard make a speech about that? And they get to use the metric system, unlike us in America here. And then he sits on the bed. He checks like this orange good luck chip. There's music and then a commercial. But I did want to run through the room here. So let's see. Now on the screen, he's talking. Okay, so here he goes. So I thought it was interesting. In the room, they have like different things. Like, so, okay, the water just appeared. It's in an octangular glass. Like for the people would have a drink with the rocks. There's, paintings, plants, flowers. Then we peek into another room without the bed that has like I guess it would be the dressing room. There's a dresser with a mirror, some plants. There's a bed, which is like a twin size platform bed. There's also a chair, a sitting chair. So I look in the review. I always forget what's in these rooms. This seems like a really big room though. Again, I've never been on a cruise ship or spaceship. So I really don't know. Okay, so room. Okay, then we're on scene one. Computer, data, and Picard are working. I don't know what maybe it's the computer they're working on. Let me see what it says. Oh yeah, Starfleet Tactical. Oh, Science 1 terminal. That's where they're at. They're working. Picard's got his arms crossed. I said I would pause it here too. Problem with it is, so they're doing a Starfleet tactical analysis of the neutral zone, planets in there, 30, 40 or something. Nothing super interesting. Oh, they do a zoom of whatever planet they're talking about. That's when Picard crosses his arms. He says, yeah, Data. Well, we'll find out what he says in a second. They're looking at it. Data's looking at it. But it's on mute. So I'm subject Nirvana 3. Yeah, that's what they're looking at. Data does look and look like he's thinking and analyzing things. Computer stuff, yeah. Then Picard gets a priority 1 message in his ready room. 2 hour and 20-minute delay. We get Picard's password. What was Picard and Data talking about, though? Nothing on the sensors, but Romulans could be cloaked. Okay, what is Picard's password? Just in case you need his computer. I think you need his voice, though, but it's access 412 Mark 80. Picard Jean-Luc, Starfleet priority code Gamma. That's to decode the message. P41 Mark 80 is what I put it. P412 Mark 80. But that was wrong. What kind of encryption do they use? I didn't look that up either. And then the Admiral is like, dude, you're on your own for right now. On your shoulders, Picard. He says, I don't know if it's a trick. You know, we're trying to, the Romulans said, yeah, they're protesting that you have the Defector. Federation councils convened. No doubt in my mind you're gonna be the one dealing with this. So you have to decide if he's telling you the truth. But head towards Nirvana 3. And then the cool thing about watching these episodes like 5 or 6 times is I get to pick up on everything. So this is really cool because they leave this trail of breadcrumbs in a well-done way. So Picard says, Worf, get up here. I got to talk to you in private off screen. And he says, on my way. So that's like a breadcrumb for the end. What else? Calls Worf. Oh, then the engine computer, Geordi, data crusher, Picard, strange movements, zoomed crusher, and possible he nods. So let's see. We got a captain's log. Yeah, we're in the neutral zone near Nirvana 3. If the guess is right, we got 21 hours till the base is ready. Oh, then the boss says Monitor and Hood are on their way, but they're not going to get there in time. We sent out, an alert. Everybody wants peace, but everybody's on yellow alert. Oh, the Picard's still in his office, so Data comes in. Where is this? Possibly. Okay, let me see where I am. Oh, no, so I jumped ahead one scene. Okay, so they're playing this thing Geordi discovered, which is like the ship's movements were coordinated, which they say, that's weird. Crusher's in on this, too. And they said, well, they went after the scout ship, and they said, well, maybe it was like a soft going after it. And Picard goes, well, you think this is possible, Crusher? What do you think? You treated him. She goes, I don't think so, but it's a possibility. That's a zoom on Crusher. Then the captain's log, then the update, a second update from the Admiral. Picard's in his office. That was at an engineering computer, by the way. He's at FaceTime. Oh, first he's FaceTiming and Earl Graying. Data. He goes, we'll send out a class 1 probe every meter or something. Data, long pause. Sets down his tea to talk serious. There's a call back to King Henry. That will be all. And then he pauses right before sipping, lowers his tea down and quotes Shakespeare, which we'll cover right now. So he says, yeah, send out that probe, Data, every meter of Nirvana 3. Data goes, is there something else? He goes, yeah, Data, you're clear, you're objective. And he goes, I don't know what's going to happen with this situation, and it's kind of historical, so I want you to record it in a dispassionate way. And Data goes, I'll begin immediately. And then Picard goes, well, how's the crew feeling? And he goes, they're concerned but confident. Can't you tell? And he goes, nope, I can't be like King Henry and disguise myself among my troops. Oh, and then Picard goes, yeah, he quotes something from King Henry. Then we have Troy and Riker interviewing, what's this dude's name? Seidel. He rhymes Nirvana 3 with you will see. That made me laugh. Or somebody did. Yeah, go to Nirvana 3 and you will see. That's what he says. And they're really grilling him. He says their questions are irrelevant a lot. Riker gets cool and stern. Troy stares hard like she's trying to look her way inside him. We also realize, so then he says, my boss is Admiral Jarak. But basically, he's just complaining and kind of thing. And then we see Picard and Worf, because Picard gets a priority message from a Klingon vessel really quick. And he goes, Worf, can you handle that in a private? Take that call for me. Let's see. Probe on course. Worf's with LaForge, and Data, or maybe this is just Data and Geordi. I really liked this scene. Geordi goes, geez, my gut's telling me we got to listen to this guy. And Data goes, your gut. He goes, instinct, intuition. And he goes, doesn't that interfere with rational judgment? And Geordi goes, sometimes. And Data says, why don't you stick to the facts? And he goes, well, you can't always rely on simple facts. Sometimes they're wrong. Data goes, they can't be wrong if they're facts. You could say, could you see into the future? But they say they can lead to wrong conclusions. And Geordi goes, well, what do you think? Is he a defector? And the facts today would lead to an objective conclusion that he is not. And then Geordi says, well, I think we're going to catch the Romulans with their pants down, like he says. Data goes, his pants. And he goes, it's a metaphor. And Data says, because of your gut? And he goes, well, yeah, that's a gut. But he goes, you can't always go with your gut. And he goes, I put it to you this way. You got your gut, you got feelings, get in the way of human judgment, confuse us, make us second guess ourselves, but we still need them to help it fill in the missing pieces because we never have all the facts. So then Data says, so you fill in the missing pieces with parts of your own personality, resulting in a conclusion based as much on instinct and intuition as fact. And Data goes, oh boy. And then Data says, but what if you don't have instinct or intuition, which is a little bit of a twist, I don't know, emotional twist for me. And Geordi goes, oh boy, something interesting here. Let's see, pants down, what? A metaphor. Geordi does not answer Data's last question yet. What if you have, because they say the probe, Picard takes a big breath when they say there's something coming out of the planet, some kind of electronic emissions. And Picard says, that will be all. There's a slow zoom and ominous music. And that, like, okay, maybe there is something on Nelvana 3. Then we're at whatever, 9 forward or whatever it's called. And Data's staring at the Romulan who's having a drink. And the dude goes, you've never seen a Romulan before? And Data goes, incorrect assumption. And he goes, how about some privacy? And Data goes, I want to see what my guts are saying. And he goes, oh, you're the android. He goes, they'd love to look at you and Romulus. And Data goes, no, thank you. And Data goes, this is the best viewport on the ship. The dude goes, I don't care about viewport reports, man. It's not my stars. I like that. These are not my stars. Even the heavens are denied me that I want to look at him. And he goes, can't you make a Romulan ale? He goes, we'd need the original to make it, and we don't know much about you. And he goes, well, you're missing out. He goes, Romulus is the best planet, best ale, best everything. Data goes, you got some regrets, eh? He goes, I had to do it, man, but I'll never see the firefalls of Galathong again. In the spires above the apex sea. What does that say? Firefalls at Galgaloth. Dude even throws shade at Data a little bit. How can they bring Romulus, but not Romulus ale? Yeah, but Data goes, Data goes, it looks like you're not going to get to go home. He goes, the cold reaction of an android. Data goes, well, I'll still be nice to you. Why don't we go try to look at Romulus, and we see the spires and moons of a city. It's a valley of Chula. City's far off in a valley. And at first the dude goes, this is great. But then he goes, forget it. He goes, call Picard. I'm Admiral Jarak, actually. This is my home now or something. He goes, turn it off. This, holodeck. I said, that's what I said earlier in the episode. But I got to make sure this wasn't in vain. Rorio greet Admiral Jarak wants to see him. Okay. And then that's an ad. Then Picard's FaceTiming or whatever, messaging with the Admiral Hayden. Source of info. He goes, yeah, that's Admiral Jarak, but he's an unreliable source of info. So, And Picard says, bring Jarak in here and wait outside. He says, have a seat, man. No more time. He goes, oh, the guy goes, I don't have time to sit. Picard goes, have a seat. He goes, and this was really good stuff. Again, the shoulder pads. Picard raises his voice or deepens his voice because he goes, dude, we got to get to work, Admiral Jarak. And Picard goes, you got to convince me you're telling the truth. Irrefutable evidence. Because you got no evidence at all. And he goes, Romulan defector, that's an admiral? And he goes, well, I just want peace, man. And Picard goes, you're no man of peace. And the guy goes, that's why I went undercover. And he goes, I'm a hero in our world. And Picard goes, well, why should I still believe you? On what basis? He leans in on the chair when he stands on that, like after he raises his voice. He says, on what basis are you prepared to tell us the truth or not? And the guy goes, well, I'm not going to tell on everybody. And he goes, well, you already made your choice. Fully make your choice or cross over or don't. And then Jarak tries to shade Picard. He goes, oh, don't you have a family? And Picard goes, no. He goes, well, you work too hard. And Picard goes, man, this is where Stewart is just so good. He goes, this is all very interesting. And then Jarak tries to go off again. And he goes, Picard goes, listen, dude, I don't care about your speeches unless I have unequivocal cooperation. Because he makes this long speech about kids and everything. Then we're in the ready room. This was interesting because there's like chit-chat going on. People are looking out the window, all the officers, before Picard comes in. Then they all go and sit down. So I said, who chit-chats with who? And what are they chatting about? They rush to their seats. Picard... They give Picard their full attention, and there's kind of a long silence. And Picard stays standing, and he goes, Jarak gave me everything we probably need, or hopefully it'll give us an edge. And they all share a look on the news. He goes, he's going to be more valuable with his field command work. But Geordi says, great. And then he goes, well, don't depend on it, but set course for... Number 1, set course for Nelvana 3. Then we have second officer's log. This is data reporting. 43465.2. We're in a neutral zone. Violation of Treaty of Algernon. Romulans are probably cloaked and watching us, and we don't know what's going to happen. Riker does not like it because it's so quiet. Picard talks about the history of Custer. Nelvana 3 on screen. See, there's no sign of nothing on the sensors. Riker goes, too darn easy, holy hockey sticks. And he goes, Data, get into orbit around the planet. And he goes, there's nothing around there, man. Just a subspace, or he goes, ion and subspace stuff still there, but we can't find a source. Probably moving in an orbital path with an 800-kilometer apogee. Let's see. Riker leans on Data's chair while they're talking. Maybe they left the planet. Maybe it's cloaked. Data goes, well, there'd be distortion if it was cloaked. And now Picard's like not happy because Jarak rolls in. Picard raises his voice right away. He says, you're actually going to tell me why we're here, dude? And Riker goes, he means there's no base. And he goes, no, it can't be possible. He goes, I saw everything. And Picard goes, are you sure it wasn't disinformation? Like, didn't you get fired or something? And they knew you were a grouch? Like, maybe not every Romulan's a grouch like you. And is it a test? And he goes, no. And then Picard goes, well, then they played you. Whatever, what other exclamation point is, or explanation is there? They let you escape. And then Picard says, Geordi, get permission to withdraw. He says, yeah, Geordi, get us out of here. Riker says that. Riker says permission to withdraw. Picard says, Picard also said, they let you leave with an arsenal of worthless secrets. So then they go to leave, and then, of course, 2 Romulan ships appear. They, tap the Enterprise a couple times. They say damage. They say a little bit. Captain's not yet. They say, what should we do? Picard goes, nothing. It's just a tap on the shoulder. And then the Worf goes, they're calling. And Picard goes on screen. It's Tomalak. He goes, Picard, it was so nice to see you again. What are you doing here in the neutral zone? And Picard goes, you know why we're here. Come on. And he goes, oh, well, there's no incursion here. We're not doing anything. Guy's so smug. He could run for office. Let's see. All super pleased, smug look. And Picard goes, yeah, we just found these subspace emissions or whatever. And he goes, oh, that was just our probe. Archaeological research. Cloaked, though. And Picard goes, really? And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, is that why you came all the way across the neutral zone, broke all the treaties? That's not right. And Picard goes, yeah, whatever, we're leaving. And he goes, without even an apology, Captain? Picard goes, you really want an apology? I'll give you one. And he goes, no. He goes, I'll save you the time. And Picard goes, what do you want? And he goes, the Enterprise is what I want. Then Jarak goes, I can't believe this was like a trick on me, to trick them. He goes, you totally used me. And then Tom Alex says, okay, before we take the Enterprise, just send this guy back, and then we'll, let you guys give up. And this is when it really gets good, because, if you're a Picard fan, because Picard goes, do you think I'm going to accept those terms? He goes, no, I expect you won't. It's just like the Austin Powers movies with Captain or Doctor. He goes, no, Captain Picard, I expect you won't. He goes, you have 30 seconds to decide. And Picard goes, I don't need 1 second, bruh. And he goes, give up, man, Picard. And Picard goes, if the cause is just and honorable, everybody on my ship's ready. He goes, are you ready? And he goes, idle threat, Picard. And Picard goes, Mr. Worf, and then all these Klingon vessels appear surrounding the Romulans. And the dude was, before the Romulans or the Klingons appeared, the dude was totally stunned by Picard's boldness. All fiction to test you. Oh, that was it. Very Dr. Evil. 30 seconds. Don't require one. Picard proceeds with some Shakespeare. What will it be, Gerard? Or what will it be, Tom Locke? You're surrounded by, what do you're in trouble now. And he goes, He goes, we'll still get back at you guys. And Picard goes, and he says, I'll look forward to our next meeting, Captain. And then the Romulans take off. And he says, cancel red alert. Thank the Klingons, Worf. Aye, sir. And he says, take us back. And Jarek goes, I can't believe it. And he goes to the big firefall in the sky because he's like, I'd rather not. Leaves a letter to his wife and daughter, which Riker finds. And they go, well, but we can't send it, Data says. And Picard goes, today. But with others with the courage of Jarak, we will see a day of peace where we can send his letter home. And with that, the episode comes to a close. Let's see, a couple of notes that came up during this episode. So the play, Henry V, history, let's see, what's it called officially? Henry V, a history play by Picard, by Shakespeare. It was written in near 1599. And it tells, focuses on the event immediately before and after the Battle of Agincourt, It was titled The Chronicle of the History of Henry V, which became the life of Henry V. It's part of a series with Richard II, Henry IV, part 1 and 2. So the audience would have been familiar with the title character. So this is interesting because I didn't really know that. So there's a lot of characters. I don't want to give you the synopsis. Let's just see if there's anything really. I mean, of course, it's a great Shakespearean play. I'm not familiar with it, but the primary source was Raphael Holinshed's Chronicles, Edward Hall's The Union of Two Illustrious Families. It was consulted. Readers and audiences have interpreted the play's attitude with dealing with WAR in different ways, actually. So it could be read on as a commentary or on the complexity, or it could even be described as having multiple meanings. Let's see. It's had a lot of revivals. It's been adapted for film. Laurence Olivier was in the first movie in 1944, and then Kenneth Branagh was in 1989, and Olivier played some scenes as comedy, in where Branagh played them more in a serious way. And then Tom Hiddleston did one in 2012. Oh, and there's there's probably another 2019 movie coming out, The King. Oh, so it's all adapted from all of them. There's also David Gordon did a dance theater version, Dancing Henry V. Suite from Henry V, William Walton wrote for the Olivier film. So there's a little bit about the play, just briefly. Who was Henry V, Scoots? Because I'm always here willing to learn more. It was King of England from 1413 until 1422. He was the second English monarch from the House of Lancaster. Short reign, but outstanding military successes. One of the strongest, made of England one of the strongest military powers, immortalized in plays, and seen as one of the great warrior kings of medieval England. I guess depending on your, where you're from. Let's see. 1450, Henry started the ongoing 100 Years' War with France. Maybe that was his dad that did that. Because that'd be over a long time. Let's see. Then they had a union. Following the arrangement, everything seemed to be close to a union between France and England until he went to the big farm in the sky. Had a riotous youth. So a little bit of, I'll link to it. So there's definitely a lot more you could read about it. Now, what about Ronald Moore? Those of you that are like me, Battlestar Galactica fans, I haven't watched Outlander, but I'm a big Battlestar Galactica fan. I listened to a bunch of the Ronald Moore podcasts when he was making that series. I think he wrote some great episodes of Next Generation. Let's see, in 1988, he toured the Star Trek Next Generation sets. He passed the script on to one of Gene Roddenberry's assistants. And then 7 months later, he skips his script into somebody's hands, which became that third series episode, The Bonding. And then he did do a lot of these Klingon-style ones, Sins of the Father, Reunion, Redemption 1 and 2, Ethics and Rightful Heir. He's credited with writing or co-writing 27 Next Generation episodes. He wrote a lot of them with Brannon Braga. So they had a lot of working together. They also wrote the screenplays for the two movies, Star Trek Generations and First Contact. Then Moore joined Deep Space Nine, supervising producer, and became a co-executive producer. Let's see, they worked on Star Trek First Contact, Mission Impossible 2. They helped on that one and on the script for that. He got to expand a lot of the Klingon culture in Deep Space Nine and got to start engaging with fans, which he did sort of Battlestar Galactica. Worked on Voyager for the part of the 6th season, but just a short part of it. And then eventually 2004 to 2009, Battlestar Galactica, who, I mean, I think for me is a great place in my heart. Yeah, I just remember, I really loved that series. And he's been working on a lot of other stuff since then, including Outlander, which, again, I haven't seen, but probably one day I will. So that was the thing. I mean, because Apple, oh no, so then Apple also has more series coming for all mankind. So that's cool to know. Okay, one other thing I wanted to do is this chip and dip and cheese company, or chip dip and cheese company, hell of a good, HELUVA, good, exclamation point. We had this when I was a kid. And because Riker said it, I said, okay, what is it? So it's an American company, cheeses, dips, sour cream, and condiments, is now owned by HP Hood LLC. So you can feel good about Hood. They had acquired Crowley Foods in 2004. So now they're based in Linfield, Mass. You probably find it at Wegmans. Let's see. They used to have a store in Wallington, New York, east of Sodus. Where all the cheese products were planted. So that's why I was in Syracuse where I was growing up. It was founded by Sodus resident Perry Messenger in 1925 when he started making washed curd cheese as a hobby in the basement of the A.B. Williams Company, for which he owned and managed at the time. The name or the origin of the name, a traveling salesman stopped by a Messenger's store one day and sampled the cheese. He said, boy, that's a hell of a good cheese after tasting it. 1939, Messenger opened a cheese shop, established the company, and he had a little bit of an issue getting it, the name certified. He was known for having a humorous side. His executive officers were Father Time, taxes, geo experience. And I think Father Time kind of was the mascot of it. Then in 1955, he sold the company to George Yancey Sr. in Rochester, who would turn it into a regional business. That's probably where I experienced, because then it was, 84, Crowley Foods of Binghamton bought it. So that was about why I crossed paths with it. But I guess they're still using Father Time. They sponsored, their sour cream dip. I think in upstate New York, that was like a big thing, was their sour cream dips, which I know, ever since I was a kid, I guess at picnics and potlucks, there'd be a lot of hell of a good sour cream and cheese dips. So that's just interesting. I mean, I don't know. To me, it had to be discussed. So that's everything. And here's some thank yous and good nights. All right, I want to thank everybody that reviewed the show recently. I want to thank Peakmeister. Best sleep I've gotten. So much better than comedy. Thank you. Tyrannosaurus Lexate. Took a couple of times, very effective. Took a couple of times for me to understand. Now I'm able to zone out right away. Rambling allows my mind to wander, not focus on anything that keeps me up. Wonderfully boring. Let's see. Wholesome. Emily with a G. Nice calming voice from Scoots for my busy brain. Nonsense he mumbles into the deep, sleepy nonsense stage of nice dreams. Alex need Storlax. Alex needs Storlax. Says the best for me. Voice is always soothing and work better than anything else I've tried. Always helps. All the way from France. Maybe they're there for the World Cup, the Women's World Cup. So congratulations to everyone participating in that. It's Real 92. Listening for years is still helping me sleep. Thanks. Aaron 1119 Best to Sleep Aid. I've been listening for years. Podcast was to sleep every time when I wake up. It lulls me right back. 1 star from It Didn't Work. Oh, come on. Looked at the reviews. They said to try this one. When I found it, I thought, yay, but it's E for explicit. So maybe that was a kid. Yeah, there's, yeah, it's just just kind of, we found, well, there's just the rules around it. Then Gaffer, also not for me, dog. It's a no for me, dog. So, kind of like a Scooch reference from like the early aughts. I think that's Randy. Couldn't get past the constant stumbling, and that was an accidental stumble, actually, vernal pauses. And they're very surprised anybody who likes it. Jamie Ray 46, though, does. Scoots hardly ever fails to help me drift off to sleep. Got a lot going on, and it makes sleeping tough, but it plays sleep with me all night. And by the second episode, I've usually succumbed to sleep. I shared it with my mom, and we're both grateful for the good night's sleep again. Thank you. Thank you. November Smile says, amazing. Best thing when I'm sleeping or stress, I find myself falling asleep. Recommend 100%. But dealing with postpartum stuff is no sleep for me. It's got me through some rough nights. Someone suggested as I have trouble falling asleep. It's a trusted tool. It gets me to sleep fast. Thanks for everything you're doing. Sandfam 9911 from Canada says, recommend to patients, friends, and family. I'm a nurse. I deal with people helping with their mental health. I use and recommend this podcast regularly as a means to manage running thoughts to interrupt sleep. Thank you so much for what you do for all of us. Thank you, Sandfam. And, that's the last review. Thanks, everybody, for reviewing the show over there on Apple Podcasts. I really appreciate it. Sleep With Me exists as a free podcast because everybody out there who supports the show either on Patreon or supports the sponsors. Sleep With Me grows because people spreading the natural word. Also, just want to pop over to Castbox. Manny, I want to thank Manny, Gemstone, and Jenny for writing stuff about the podcast. Thanks, and good night. And Bessie and Dylan, thank you, thanks, and good night. So thanks, everybody who supports the show. Through all those different means. We're a proud member of Night Vale Presents. And you can check out all the amazing shows over at nightvalepresents.com, including the original that started started it all. And start your journey with episode 1 if you're not already listening. Welcome to Night Vale. If you haven't heard of it, just do yourself a favor and tune in and then kick back and enjoy it. You can find Welcome to Night Vale wherever you consume your podcasts or at nightvalepresents.com. We're also a proud member of PRX. You can see everything they're doing at prx.org, and that's it. You got plenty of other episodes ready to go if you need them. Let me tuck in, and good night.